Hi guys, and welcome to another episode of Feeding My Worm Bin. This is my smallest worm bin, the little 7-gallon mini tote that I did plan to have as I did plan to set this up as a breeder bin, but after the disaster in the big bin, it got taken over and used as a temporary bin. The worms in here devoured all the cantaloupe melon we fed them the last time. All they left was these little thin pieces of rind. They didn't mess with the cucumber much. That wasn't frozen, that was just the fresh end of a cucumber. They have came in and hollowed out most of the there's a nice little worm party. They have came in and hollowed out most of these peaches that I left for them, and they leave the fibrous pieces and they eat all the juicy flesh, and then that's it. They just leave that skin, and the skin's pretty thick on these peaches, especially when the smaller they are. They get thinner as they get bigger, these peaches. So they just they hollow it out and leave the paper like shell of the skin, and I'm sure they'll eventually devour that skin, just like they're going to devour the rest of these rinds and skins, but they mainly go after the good juicy bits first. So let's dig in and see how the wormies are doing underneath. They're not very far down in there, so that's good. They're working through that with some of that corn silk and corn leaves. There's a good wormy hanging out on that corn leaf. We'll dig down in the corners. Taking after AV, and I'm going to aerate a lot because we got some cardboard in this bin and we need to move it around. We got some foods in here that need to, so we're going to do a proper movement and aeration. We got little wormies, we got big wormies. Let me turn the screen on so I can see what you're seeing. Sorry it's a little dark up in that corner. Let's see if we can enlighten where we're working here. Trying not to put the camera light or there's a pit from a peach. The new peaches, I didn't show you guys the feeding. So this is the third feeding of my teeny worm bin. We got some dragon fruit skins up here that are going to go into the bins. We got some peaches that I de-pitted and split in half, and some lovely strawberries that were past their prime, a little moldy. They're fresh. Everything in this bowl is fresh, including the watermelon. The watermelon was on the top shelf of the outside garage fridge, and it got frozen and ain't looking good, so became worm food. So everything in this bin except for that watermelon is fresh. Got lots of stuff in the house. I just we went away camping for the weekend, so we didn't get a chance to freeze a lot of foods this week. We were on vacation and doing things all throughout the week. I have to say that they're working through this cardboard pretty good. There's lots of castings in it. I know that you can't really tell the difference, but I can see the difference. And I think we're bumping into the base. That was just some cardboard or a corn cob that came over. So yeah, the bottom of the worm bin looks a little compacted. What the hell is that? That'd be that's a peach pit from a very big peach. And it looks like there's wormies are not inside of it, but encircling the castings that are built up around it. So getting down in the corners, gotta break up all this cardboard. The wormies are running. Haven't really disturbed them much since we built this bin. We just kind of set it and forget it. They were kind of traumatized when they moved in from the disaster in the other worm bin, the flooded older bin. So kind of left them alone for the last month. So there's the bottom of that cucumber. They're not really messing with it, but we'll move it into the bin further down in, and maybe we'll get some action deep down further in. So let's dig up the left side. I don't know what you're looking at, sorry. The screen on this camera goes off to keep the heat down in it and save the battery, but it's kind of difficult when I'm not previewing what you're seeing. So we're trying to get down to the bottom of the bin, just breaking up the cardboard as we go. The wormies are running for the hills. Sorry guys, I don't like being this rough, but we gotta aerate and separate and get these guys moving around. Good healthy worms in here, good sized worms. Moisture level looks good. Let's move the other food from the last time, the skins, down in. And we'll start working this other side of the bin. And these are the stalks from the baby leaf lettuce. They're still they're not green, but they're starting to break down. I don't think the wormies are breaking them down. I think they're just decaying over time. They're pretty stiff still. I imagine they're going to take a good bit of time to work down. But the oldest bin has a majority of those. Alright, I'm going to try to speed this up. Yeah, lots of good sized wormies in there. It's definitely compacted. The cardboard in there was micro cut, so good amount of wormies in there. Sorry I'm breaking that up. I know you guys are processing it, but we gotta aerate, guys. Irrigate. Give these guys some oxygen. Yeah, no watermelon, barely. Nice worm ball under there, but I don't see any pink of that watermelon left. Alright, let's get this corner. So there's a peach. Sorry, wormies. Yeah. There you go, buddy. Hang on there. Not on the rake. So there's a pit. I'll leave that. I'll dig that out at a later date. Like I said, the new peaches are de-pitted and should be good there. Let's get to the middle. Yeah, lots of wormies. They're really doing a good job. I bet you we got 1,000 worms in here. Maybe not. I don't know. It's a good amount of wormies, and they're doing a good job at working through this stuff. Ooh, let's leave that peach there for them. Alright guys, I'm done messing with you. Give these guys some... Actually, let's get your food in there, and then we'll bury these guys over and bury the food with you. I don't want to add a bunch of bedding. So we got a good hunk of watermelon going in. Little mini worm bay. I'm sure will enjoy that. Since they did a good job, I'm going to give them the extra hunk too. A little wormy hanging out there on the wall. I haven't had any escapees from this bin, which is great. And no holes, just the copper tape, and I keep the lid cracked open for them. So let's get them a piece of the dragon fruit. I imagine they're going to enjoy that. Let's get them some of these peaches and some of these mushy strawberries, moldy mushy strawberries. Gonna give them a decent feeding. It's I think it's been a week, maybe a week and a half since the last feeding. Some of these peaches are a little further gone than the others, but I'm sure, like I said, they're deep pitted and split in half. I didn't want the wormies to have to struggle through the skins. And I think that's a good size feeding for the little bin. Let's check her out. We got the watermelon. We got 1 peach, 2 peaches, 2.5 peaches, a dragon fruit, and a good number of strawberries. I think that's a good amount. Let me turn the screen back on. Thank you guys for coming and checking out the mini worm bin feeding. There should be two more feedings following. Let me reposition the camera and the lighting here. So their amendments, let me cut this light off. So the amendments this week, they're going to be getting some seashell grit. Just a little bit, not a lot. They're going to be getting some love potion, which I have to go grab. This should be a fun obstacle stunt. Give me 1 moment. Alright, and we're into our second bag of the love potion blend of worm chow from Worm Nerd. Very good. It smells, I think a good percentage of this is oatmeal. I don't know their exact mix, but it's got a lot of good smells like oatmeal and cinnamon. Maybe nutmeg, I don't know. But the wormies enjoy it. Hopefully it turns this thing into a breeder bin, but I don't expect it to. Not keeping it very wet like I would expect I would need to for a breeder bin. And I know my population in here is a little bit more than it should be for a breeder bin, so not doing it quite right. But this is what it is after the disaster. So again, we're gonna pull that over. We gave them those 2 amendments, worm chow, seashell grit. Yeah, that's all we're gonna amend to today. So I'm just gonna cover that watermelon up and try to cut down on some of the fruit fly action I got going on. I can't really control it. We're in an outdoor greenhouse. Can't control how many flea flies are going to get in your worm bin when your greenhouse has open doors and the worm bin's open. So ain't no fixing that, ain't no changing it. So that's what we got. So that is going to conclude our feeding of this worm bin. I know I said there was enough moisture, but I got a little bit of mosquito dunk water here, and it's fresh rainwater from the downpour we got today. Just give them a little drink, keep the moisture level in this bin good. Nothing excessive. It's about a pint of water. And again, rainwater. Mixed with a little bit of BT to keep the fruit flies down. Not controlled, it was just in the bucket that I collected the rainwater in. So that's going to conclude our feeding. And hey, thank you for checking out the feeding of my mini worm bin. And please hit that subscribe, and please hit that thumbs up, and hey, leave a comment. Let me know what I'm doing right and doing wrong, or not doing good enough. Thank you now. Bye-bye.